Because this is the beginning of the project, on my desktop, I'm going to right click, select new and create a new folder. And I'm going to give this folder a name. So this will be travel mug with handle. And what I've got here is an image. You can either take this from the internet, but this is one I've drawn myself. I'm going to use that as a guide. So either take a photograph, take one from the internet, or create a sketch if you want. At least you have something to act as a guide for you. I'm going to take that image. That image is there on my desktop, but I need to put that into the folder. So let's just drag that image into the folder. Moving over to SOLIDWORKS, I'm going to go and start a new part. So new part, and press OK. And in the part environment, I'm going to start off with a sketch. So press the drop down arrow beside line and select center line. And on the front plane, I'm going to start at the origin and draw a line vertically upwards. Now I'm looking straight in at the front plane, you can see there. If you're looking at the front plane at an angle, of course you can always hit the space bar and select this normal to. It means you're looking straight in at it. So I know approximately my cup is going to be 150 mil. Now this is one I've made up myself, it doesn't actually exist, so I've decided it's 150 mil high. So smart dimension, select that line, and smart dimension that to be 150, enter. At least now I have a known measurement in space. If you want, you can start drawing away, but I want to bring in a sketch picture to trace around. So let's go up here to Tools, Sketch Tools, and then over to Sketch Picture. If Sketch Picture is grayed out, it just means your sketch is closed and you have to open up the sketch. I'll just simulate that. Let's say I'll close the sketch. Now the sketch is still there. Now if I go to Tools, Sketch Tools, you can see Sketch Picture is grayed out. So get over here to Sketch 1, right click, Edit Sketch. Now it's open again. Okay, so Tools, Sketch Picture. My sketch picture is saved in the folder on my desktop. It's called Mug Elevation JPEG, and now the image comes in. So I want to get rid of this scale tool. It never works for me. So over on the left hand side, turn off enable scale tool, go to transparency, full image, and then take transparency up to about 60 or 70%. So if you click anywhere in the picture, you can pan and move the picture. Click it by one of its corners, you can resize it. And this is not an exact science, just have a good approximation of the cup. Now that 150 for me is actually not including the lid, so I'm going to position that as best I can down at the bottom down here and just leave the lid off like that. Okay, that's going to be good enough. So I'm going to press this green tick. Now pressing this green tick closes the sketch picture, but it doesn't close the sketch. The sketch is still open. You can't change the sketch picture currently. If you want to change the sketch picture, you double click it. Now you can change it again, but I'm happy enough with that. So close the sketch picture, then pick up a line, and I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to draw across as far as there. Maybe I'll pick up another line and draw a line vertically upwards, and a line out, and a line straight down. And you can drag those around to suit, or you can put dimensions on them. It doesn't really matter. While I'm talking there, just doing that, I'd give you some advice. Don't try to faithfully represent every little bump and fillet. You'll drive yourself mad trying to do that. A good representation is good enough. So I'm just kind of going to put those measurements on. Maybe I'll make that 38. And yeah, that's actually going to be okay. So what I need to do now is fill up the curve from there to there. So to do that, I'm going to use a spline. So pick up the spline tool, which is there. I'm going to click there, maybe there, and maybe there. And that's the way I use splines. By the way, to finish off the spline, I just right click and press select. Some people, when they're doing splines, they put in multitudes of points like that. That's not going to be that accurate. It's not going to be that smooth. So just in my case, a start point, middle point, and an end point. Now that the spline is there, select the spline. And it's very subtle, but there's an arrowhead and there's a little diamond. Grab the diamond and give it a little drag, and you can see it'll change the direction. So I want seamless curvature there between this line and that curve, or tangential curvature. So what I'll do is I'll drag that diamond a bit, but with the diamond selected over here, I'm going to select vertical, and now you've got a tangential smooth curvature there. Same at the bottom. Select the spline if you haven't done so already. Select the diamond and give the diamond a little drag, and if you want, you can set this to be vertical, but I think I'm going to have mine coming out a little bit. There's a little bell cast out that way. Not too much though. So it doesn't have to be vertical. Now you can get in here and massage where the spline goes. You can see there's a little bit of a gap there between that and that. So you can always just select the point and drag the point around. I haven't got a bad guess as it stands there. But if you ever find it difficult to do that, remember, you can always select the arrow head and the arrowhead will give you more or less slack in the spline, so you can adjust them that way. See over here now, I think I need to drag that in a little bit, and there we go. So I've got a good representation of that. And by the way, shaded sketch contours, if that is selected, it gives you this shaded preview. Whenever this is shaded, it means it's a closed profile, which means that it'll revolve or it'll extrude. There is blue geometry there, which is kind of bad practice. Down at the bottom right, it says under defined. So what I'm going to do is select the spline and then press the little anchor that comes up. And I was afraid this would happen. If this happens, it means I've already anchored in the top and the bottom. So I'll just right click that over here and delete that. And instead, I'll just select the point and I'll anchor the point. Okay, and let's just see. I think I might have to anchor all of these arrows as well. So select this diamond and fix that diamond. And select this diamond and fix that diamond. Okay, so there's still something underdefined there. Yeah, the bottom. I haven't told the bottom what size to be. So let's maybe give that a dimension of 32. There you go, now we're talking. So whenever you have all black geometry and whenever it says fully defined geometry down there, you know you've got a fully defined sketch. So let's close that sketch and I'm going to go to Features, Revolved Boss Base and select this vertical middle line. And sorry, I didn't select that. Let's select it. And now I've got the solid. So press the green tick to close that feature and we're done. So I want this to be just a regular 4 mil thick wall. There's other versions where you've got a thermos vacuum opening in the middle there. That's not in this example. So I'm just going to hollow it out. So Features, Shell, make sure I set the value to say 4 mil. And I want to remove the top. So click the top and then press the green tick. I now have an empty container, an empty vessel. I also want to put a band on it because in the example I'm coming up with, there's an aluminium inlay, just a couple of millimeters, maybe even 1 millimeter for most of the middle of the beaker or the cup, but it's still exposed the aluminium or the plastic at the top and the bottom. So to do that, I'm going to go to Surfaces. Now, if you don't have the Surfaces tab, right click one of the other tabs, go to Tabs and go to Surfaces. Make sure Surfaces is ticked on. So go to Surfaces, Knit Surface, and I'm going to select that face and press the green tick. Now, in case you haven't done that before, what that's going to do, it's going to create a surface bodies folder over on the left. So if I go to the solid bodies folder and click this feature, Shell 1, and hide it, you can see what I've got. It's a very thin coating over the solid we've created. I call it a 0 mil thick coat of paint. So if I just bring that solid back into visibility, the surface body, I can see there's a surface just painted over the existing cup. So I'm going to start a sketch of a line on the front plane, and I'm going to draw a line across there and another line across there. And I'm going to dimension maybe this down from the top 5 mil and up from the bottom 15. I'm just making up these measurements in my head as I go. I don't like leaving a sketch underdefined, so those lines are fine. I don't really care where they stop. So you can just select the point and hit the anchor. It's not going to allow me to do that actually. So look at even better, just drag it onto the edge of the cup, drag it onto the edge, drag this onto the edge, and drag that onto the edge. And now you can see it's fully defined. So what I've done is I've drawn a line. Oh, sorry, I'll cancel that. I've drawn a line across there, across there. I'm going to use those red lines to trim the surface. So if I go to Surfaces, Trim Surface, if this box has something in it, right click and select Clear Selections just to be safe. The Trim tool is going to be that sketch and leave it at Keep Selections. I can now keep the top piece, the bottom piece, or the middle piece. I want to keep the middle piece. So with Keep Selection selected, click the middle and then press the green tick to confirm. So what I've done now is I've taken that surface and I've trimmed it so it doesn't actually go all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom. And that surface perfectly rides the contours of the curved mug. I now want that to have some thickness, so I'll get up here to, I'm in the Surfaces tab, Thicken, and I can choose to thicken it outwards, inwards, or mid-plane. I don't want it mid-plane, I want it to thicken outwards. I just want this to be 1 millimeter. And I can just zoom in. Yeah, it is actually thickening out the way. If I select this option, it'll thicken in the way, this thickens out the way. And I do not want to merge the result. I'm sorry, I actually want to thicken that in the way. I do, sorry, thicken it in the way. I do not want to merge the result. I want that to be a separate piece of material altogether. So if I press the green tick, it's hard to see what I've got, but if I hide the main solid in the middle, you can see what I've got. A 1 millimeter thick little bit of aluminium it's going to be that'll embed itself into the plastic. So if I make this visible, I've got the, let's just put a color on that just temporarily. Just temporarily, I'm going to just put, say, a white color on the middle piece. Yeah, so you can see the white color in the middle is the actual plastic, and that kind of hatched color is the aluminium. I need to cut a shape or a space from the white plastic for the aluminium, so I'm going to go to Insert, Features, Indent. The target body is what's going to be affected or changed, which is this main middle piece. The tool body region is going to be this aluminium piece in the middle, so let's click that. And I want to cut them, and I want to press the green tick. So what I've done now is, if I hide the aluminium for a second, I've actually cut a little notch 1 millimeter deep into the cup for the aluminium, and if I make the aluminium visible, it's the perfect size and it fits in there like that. Before I finish up this, I'm just going to put a little indentation into the bottom. So maybe I'll start a sketch on the bottom of a circle, whatever size I feel like. And I want that to be a little piece that's pushed up or domed up or indented up, just to make sure that the cup sits evenly. I'll bring that pretty close to the edge, actually. There you go. So I want that to be domed up, but I have to split this bottom face up so that this circle gives me a separate piece in the middle. So to do that, I'm going to go to Features, Curves, Split Line. And I want to make sure it's set to projection. And the first box, it's highlighted in blue, is the sketch. So let's select that sketch I've just drawn, the circle. The second box is the face. So I'm going to select that face. I'm going to press the green tick. Now it looks like nothing has happened, but I now have that face separated from the bigger face at the bottom. So now I can go to Insert, Features, Dome, select that middle face. It defaults to pushing down the way, which isn't going to be a very stable cup. So I'm going to get over here to Elliptical Dome to make it a little bit more neater. Some instances you might have Continuous Dome there. Click Continuous Dome instead of Elliptical Dome. I don't want it to be 10 mil. Maybe I want it to be 4 mil up. And like I said, I don't want it down. I want it up. So I'll press this little icon there to make sure it flips up the way. Green tick. The dome surface will intersect part of the model. Yeah, sorry, I'm going to make that maybe a bit smaller, maybe 3 mil. Okay, there we go. So to finish off then, one last thing, I'm going to put a fillet on the edge there, but I don't want a regular fillet. I want to do something a bit more fancy, change it from a symmetric to an asymmetric fillet. An asymmetric fillet puts not just a radius, but 2 different distances on the fillet. So I'm going to change this maybe to 2 mil, and I got those wrong actually, so I'll go 10 and 2 rather than 2 and 10. So 10 and 2. And there we have it. See, it's a very subtle fillet. It starts high and it just comes out a little bit. Green tick. There we go. And last thing, fillet that little edge there just with a regular symmetric fillet of, say, 2 mil. And there you have the cup ready for off.